A billionaire kicked a dog. Hours later, he wept into its fur, whispering, "I'm sorry," over and over. Between those two moments, a maid discovered something under the dog's collar that would unravel a conspiracy, expose the people he trusted, and prove that the animal he dismissed as worthless was the only thing standing between innocence and death. The dog had been trying to tell them. No one listened, except her. And what she risked to follow that dog into the darkness, it'll restore your faith in the invisible people of this world. Before we continue, hit subscribe, like this video, and tell me in the comments where in the world you're watching from. I believe this story found you today for a reason. This is a story about a man who built empires but couldn't see what was right in front of him. About a woman who cleaned his floors but saw everything he missed, and about a dog that refused to abandon two children the world had already forgotten. Reed McCann stood 42 floors above Seattle, watching sunrise bleed gold across glass towers he'd built with his own ruthlessness. 18 luxury developments, 4 hotels, $4.3 billion. His empire stretched across the skyline like a monument to everything he'd clawed his way out of foster care, food stamps, hunger that never leaves your bones, and a golden retriever named Buddy that his foster father sold for drinking money. "Stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about." So Reed stopped crying, built walls instead, learned the lesson that would make him rich. Love is leverage, attachment is vulnerability, and the only way to survive is to become untouchable. Now, at 48, he owned the buildings. He decided what stayed and what got demolished. Every thread of his $8,000 suit was a declaration. I survived. Every cold marble surface in his office proved it. No photographs, no personal items, just evidence of conquest. His left hand trembled as he poured scotch. Before 9 a.m. it always did this time of year. March 14th. Tomorrow would be 36 years since they took Buddy. The pills weren't enough anymore to keep that memory buried. "Mr. McCann, brief on the Riverside project." His assistant stood in the doorway, tablet glowing. Reed didn't turn from the window. "Go." Site cleared. Crews ready. Explosives set for Friday at noon. Ellie arrived for her second job an hour later, cleaning the McCann construction trailers. $16 an hour, 3 hours, 4 days a week. She needed this one too. The trailers smelled of bleach and something dying, industrial cleaner over sawdust and sweat, the smell of men building things by tearing other things down. As she walked toward the trailers, she saw him. A golden retriever, matted fur, ribs showing like piano keys beneath his skin, limping on his front left paw, digging at the fence line of the condemned building, whimpering a sound that was almost human. Ellie knelt slowly. "Hey, buddy. You okay?" The dog turned. Brown eyes desperate, purposeful. He barked once, sharp, then turned back to the fence, digging harder, claws scraping metal. "What are you trying to tell me?" A voice cut through the air. "Get that animal off my site." Reed McCann stepped out of a black SUV, flanked by his project manager and legal team. He saw the dog, saw Ellie, saw an obstacle. "Sir, he's hurt," Ellie started. "It's a stray. Call animal control or I'll handle it myself." The dog limped toward Reed, barking urgent, insistent. Reed looked down at it, saw the matted fur, the protruding ribs, the way it dragged its injured paw, and something twisted in his gut. Not pity, revulsion. Because that dog, starving, broken, begging, reminded him of something he'd spent 30 years burying. The feeling of being unwanted, of being stepped over. He'd clawed his way out of that hole, and he wasn't going back. Not even in memory. Ellie stood, Max cradled in her arms, and walked to the site supervisor's trailer. Blood from his wound soaked into her shirt. She didn't care. She knocked. A man in a hard hat opened the door. "Yeah? I need to report something. I think there are children inside that building." He stared at her. "What?" "This dog, he belongs to 2 missing boys. He keeps trying to get inside. I think they're in there." The supervisor glanced at Max, then back at Ellie. "Lady, that building's been empty for 6 months. We've done 3 inspections. There's nobody in there. But what if... Look, I don't have time for this. We demo in 2 days. If you're concerned, call the cops. But I got a schedule to keep." He closed the door. Ellie stood there, shaking. She pulled out her phone, called the number on Max's collar, disconnected, called the foster care center, got voicemail, left a message, called the police non-emergency line. "Seattle PD, how can I help you? I need to report I think 2 missing children might be inside a building that's about to be demolished." "What's your evidence, ma'am?" "A dog. He has their names on his collar. He keeps trying to get inside." Pause. "Ma'am, we'll make a note, but we need more than a dog's behavior to authorize a search of private property. Have you seen the children?" "No, but we'll follow up. Thank you." Click. Ellie stared at her phone. No one believed her. Max whimpered, licked her hand. She looked into his eyes, saw the desperation, saw the certainty. "You know they're in there, don't you?" Max's tail wagged once, weak, exhausted. "But sure." Ellie's studio apartment, 11:15 p.m. She sat on the floor, Max curled beside her. Her apartment smelled of bleach and something dying. The mold behind the bathroom wall she couldn't afford to fix. The slow rot of a life held together with duct tape and prayers. She'd used her grocery money to buy him food, bandaged his wounds with her first aid kit. She pulled the collar from her pocket. The leather was cracked, the metal tag dented. Max, service dog, property of Micah and Morgan Reyes. She traced the engraving with her finger. Property? As if love could be property. As if loyalty could be bought. Max lifted his head, saw the collar. His tail thumped once. "I'll get you back to them," she whispered. "I promise." She slipped the collar back into her jacket pocket, over her heart. On the table, 3 bills. Rent, $1,800, 4 months overdue. Caleb's therapy, $8,000, due in 6 weeks. Eviction notice. Final warning. Her phone rang. The foster care center. "Miss Martin, I got your message. I assure you Micah and Morgan are safe. They were transferred to a new placement 3 days ago." "With who?" "I'm not at liberty to share that information. But their dog. Dogs can't be placed with children in state care. Max was likely released or adopted separately." "I'm sure it's a coincidence. Can you just check if they're okay, please?" "Miss Martin, I appreciate your concern, but our records are clear. The boys are fine. Have a good night." Click. Ellie stared at the phone, then at Max. He was watching her, waiting. She thought of Caleb, thought of her sister Jennifer, drowning in the lake, whispering, "Save him." Thought of every child the system had written off. She knelt beside Max, ran her fingers through his matted fur. "If I do this, I lose everything. You understand that?" Max didn't move, just watched her with those brown eyes. Ellie closed her eyes, prayed. "Lord, I don't know if this is you or if I'm losing my mind, but I can't walk away. I saw those boys' faces. I know what it's like when no one believes you. When the system closes the file and moves on. She opened her eyes. If they're in there and I do nothing, I'm no better than the people who ignored my sister. She made her decision. Tomorrow, she'd go back to the site. She'd find a way inside that building, even if it cost her everything. Max's tail wagged. Ellie arrived early for her cleaning shift. Her plan: finish work, get to the demolition site by 9, find a way inside. But as she entered the service elevator, Reed McCann stepped in behind her. She froze. He didn't look at her, didn't acknowledge her, just checked his phone. The elevator rose in silence. Then he spoke, still not looking up. "You're the one with the dog yesterday." Ellie's heart pounded. "Yes, sir. Animal control picked it up last night. Taken to the shelter. Problem solved." Ellie's stomach dropped. "What?" "No, he's injured. He needs—" Reed finally looked at her. Cold, efficient. "He's a stray. The shelter will handle it. You, on the other hand," he handed her a paper. "This is your final warning. You've been late twice this month. Your work pace is below standard. One more issue and you're terminated." Ellie stared at the paper. Her hands shook. Reed continued. "I run a business, not a charity. If you can't meet expectations, there are 100 people who can. Understood?" Ellie's voice was barely a whisper. "Understood." The elevator doors opened. Reed stepped out without another word. Ellie stood there, the paper crumpling in her fist. At the animal shelter, 8:32 a.m. Ellie used her morning break to drive there. Found Max in a kennel, bandaged but standing. When he saw her, his tail wagged desperately. The attendant shook her head. "He's on a 72-hour stray hold. After that, if no one claims him, he'll be evaluated for adoption or other options." "Other options?" "He's older, injured, and aggressive towards staff. He bit someone this morning when they tried to move him. Dogs like that don't usually get adopted." Ellie felt her throat close. "Can I take him?" "I'll claim him. You'll need to pay the fees. $240 for intake, medical, and licensing." Ellie checked her bank account. Balance: $87.14. She closed her eyes. The attendant softened. "I'm sorry, honey. If you can come back with the money before Friday." "Friday's when they demolish the building." "What?" Ellie looked at Max. He was watching her, waiting. She made a choice. "I'll be back." At the demolition site, 10:03 a.m. Ellie parked a block away. Walked to the fence. The site was active workers everywhere, machinery running. The condemned building stood in the center, windows boarded, doors chained. She circled the perimeter, found a gap in the fence on the east side, hidden by equipment. Her phone buzzed. Text from her landlord. Final notice. Pay by Friday or locks change Saturday. Text from Caleb's program. Payment overdue. Spot will be released to waitlist if not received by end of month. Text from her boss at the diner. Where are you? You're 30 minutes late. Don't bother coming in. Ellie stared at the messages, then at the building, then at her nephew's photo on her lock screen. Caleb, smiling. The only family she had left. Her hand shook. She whispered, "God, if this is wrong, stop me. Please, just stop me." A gust of wind blew. Silence. She took a breath and squeezed through the fence. Inside the condemned building, 10:11 a.m. The air inside was thick. Dust and decay, and something worse. The smell of rot, of things left behind. Ellie's flashlight beam cut through the darkness. Broken furniture, graffiti on the walls, empty syringes. She whispered, "Micah? Morgan?" Silence. She moved deeper. The building was a maze, hallways that led to more hallways, rooms that led nowhere. Her hand found Max's collar in her pocket, squeezed it like a rosary. Her phone buzzed. "Miss Martin, you failed to clock in this morning. Employment terminated, effective immediately." Ellie stopped, stared at the message. She'd just lost her highest-paying job, no income to pay rent, no way to afford Caleb's therapy, no way to get Max out of the shelter. She was trespassing on a demolition site that would be blown up in 36 hours. She sank against the wall, slid to the floor. "What am I doing?" The flashlight flickered. Battery dying. She thought of the lake. 3 years ago tomorrow. March 15th, 2021. Mirror Lake, 4:47 p.m. Jennifer's car had gone through the guardrail, hit the water at 40 miles per hour. Ellie had been 200 yards away, heard the crash, saw the splash. She ran. Dove. The water was 43 degrees. Jennifer was in the front seat, unconscious, bleeding. Ellie dragged her out, swam her to shore, started CPR. It took 4 minutes. 4 minutes before she remembered. Emma. Age 4. Car seat in the back. Ellie dove again. Found the car. Found the window. Found her niece's face pressed against the glass. Eyes open. Mouth open. No bubbles. 2 minutes too late. The paramedics said Emma could have survived if someone had reached her first. Children handle cold water better. She might have had a 6-minute window. Ellie had spent 4 of those minutes on Jennifer, who died anyway, 3 days later. You saved the wrong one. Jennifer's eyes were hollow. "My baby, you let my baby die. Not fast enough. You chose me. You should have chosen her." The room smelled of bleach and something dying. Jennifer's hand went limp. Ellie had been trying to save children ever since. Everyone she couldn't save was Emma's face against the glass. Tonight, she was 200 yards away again, and she would not be too late. Ellie wiped her face, stood, shone her dying flashlight down the hallway, and prayed. "God, I'm scared. I've lost my job. But Emma died because I chose wrong, and I won't let that happen again. So if this is you asking me to walk into the dark, then I'm walking. Guide my steps." She kept moving. Minutes passed. The flashlight dimmed further. She climbed stairs, checked rooms, called their names. Nothing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they really are safe. And then she heard it. Faint, distant, scratching. She ran toward it. Down a hallway, down a staircase to the basement. The sound grew louder. Scratching, whimpering. Max. Max? A bark. Weak. Desperate. She followed the sound to a door at the end of the hall. Heavy. Metal. Chained shut. The scratching was coming from the other side. Ellie shone the light on the door. Claw marks. Hundreds of them. Gouged. Deep. Blood smeared across the surface. "Max?" A bark. And then a small voice. Faint. Terrified. "Help!" Ellie's breath stopped. "Micah? Morgan? Help. Please." Tears poured down her face. "I'm here. I'm gonna get you out." She grabbed the padlock. Pulled. It didn't budge. Saw a metal pipe against the wall. Grabbed it. Jammed it into the chain. Pulled with everything she had. Her hands bled. The pipe slipped. She screamed in frustration. Prayed again, sobbing. God, I can't do this alone. Guide my hands. Please, let me save them. She jammed the pipe again. Pulled. The chain snapped. The padlock clattered to the floor. Ellie threw the door open. The door crashed open. The basement smelled of bleach and something dying, but beneath it, something else. Breath, warmth, life. And there they were, Micah and Morgan, huddled in the corner, filthy, hollow-eyed, trembling. Between them, Max, lying on his side, chest heaving. His paws were bloody torn, worn down to raw flesh. Ellie dropped to her knees. "Oh my God, you're alive!" The boys stared at her, frozen, terrified. She held up her hands slowly. "It's okay. I'm Ellie. Remember me?" No response. Max lifted his head. His tail thumped once weak, exhausted but deliberate. Ellie's breath hitched. "Good boy. Such a good boy." Max's eyes closed. Ellie crawled forward. "I'm going to get you out. You're safe now." Morgan, eyes wide, unblinking, suddenly reached out. His hand was small, skeletal, trembling. He touched Ellie's face. Cold. His skin was so cold. He traced her cheekbone, making sure she was real. And then, for the first time in 2 years, he spoke. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. Scared. Ellie's sob broke out of her raw, involuntary, "I know, baby. But you're not alone anymore." His eyes moved to her hand, to the collar she was holding without realizing it. His face crumpled. Max's collar. She pressed it into his palm. He clutched it to his chest. "Max?" he whispered. "He's alive. He's waiting for you. He never stopped trying to find you." Morgan's tears fell on the leather, on the metal tag, on the word that meant everything. M. Max. She pulled off her jacket, wrapped it around both boys. They were freezing, shaking, empty water bottles scattered around them. 3 bottles. They'd been rationing. "How long have you been here?" Micah held up 3 fingers. 3 days. Ellie scooped Morgan onto her back. He weighed nothing. Lifted Micah in her arms. His fingers clutched her shirt. She could feel their ribs, could smell the terror soaked into their skin. Max struggled to his feet, limped over, pressed against the boys. Morgan grabbed Max's fur, buried his face in it, whispered, "Max, safe," Ellie sobbed. "Yes, Max kept you safe." Her flashlight caught something in the corner, a piece of paper, torn, stained. A drawing. Crayon. Faded. 2 stick figures. Micah. Morgan. Between them, a yellow dog. Max. Above them, "We are a family." Dated 2 years ago. She turned it over. On the back, "Max will find us." 4 words, written in the dark, with a crayon stub, "Faith." Held in a 6-year-old's fist. Ellie pressed the drawing to her chest and wept. "No phone signal. We're getting out of here." She lifted Morgan onto her back, held Micah in her arms. Max limped beside her, leaving bloody paw prints. As they climbed the stairs, Ellie whispered, "Thank you, God. Thank you for letting me find them." They reached the ground floor. Sunlight streamed through broken windows. Morgan lifted his head, saw the light. Whispered, "Sun." Ellie laughed through tears. "Yes, baby." The sun. She pushed through the exit door and froze. 20 feet away, Reed McCann, security team, 2 police officers, all staring. Reed's face twisted in rage. The security chief stepped forward. "Ma'am, put the children down." Ellie's arms tightened. "No. You don't understand. Put them down now." Morgan screamed. "No, Ellie!" Micah went limp, eyes rolling back. Max barked, positioned himself between Ellie and security. Reed shouted, "Get those kids away from her!" Ellie's voice broke. "They were locked in the basement. It was chained." Reed stepped closer. "You broke into an active demolition site. You're holding 2 children because they were trapped. Likely story," his lawyer whispered. Reed nodded. "You're looking at criminal trespassing, breaking and entering, child endangerment. Officers, arrest her." 2 officers pulled the boys from Ellie's arms. Morgan screamed a sound of pure terror. "No! Ellie!" Micah went completely limp, eyes rolling back. Max lunged at the officer, was kicked backward, yelped. Ellie fought against the handcuffs. "Please, they're traumatized. Don't separate us." An officer turned to Reed. "Sir, do you want to press charges?" Reed looked at Ellie, at the boys screaming, at the dog bleeding on the pavement again. His lawyer whispered urgently, "Liability exposure is enormous. If she's telling the truth." Reed cut him off. "She's lying. She's clearly unstable. Press full charges." The officer nodded. "Read Ellie her rights." Ellie, sobbing, locked eyes with Reed. "I'm just a maid. I know that's all you see. But I see what you don't. Those boys were left to die. And you're so blinded by your buildings and your money that you can't see the truth when it's screaming in front of you." Reed's jaw tightened. "Get her out of here." As they dragged Ellie toward the patrol car, something fell from her pocket, hit the gravel. Max's collar. Sandra Voss stepped out of a black sedan. Her heel came down on the collar, grounded into the dirt. "Oh, thank God you found them." She rushed toward the boys. "They're runaways from our facility." She knelt in front of Morgan. Fake smiled. "It's okay, sweetheart. Let's get you back where you're safe." Morgan's eyes went dead, empty. He stopped screaming, went completely silent. Sandra stood, turned to Reed. "I'm so sorry for this disruption, Mr. McCann. These boys have severe behavioral issues. They elope frequently. This woman likely lured them here with the dog." Ellie screamed from the patrol car. "She's lying! Check the records!" The door was chained. Sandra's expression remained calm. "Severe behavioral issues and active imaginations. We'll get them the help they need." She loaded the boys into her sedan. Morgan's face appeared in the window, looking at Ellie, tears streaming down his face. Silent again, the car drove away. Max crawled toward the collar, collapsed with his nose touching the leather. Reed watched it all, felt something uncomfortable twist in his chest. His lawyer spoke quietly. "Sir, we should have the building inspected before demo." "If there's evidence," Reed interrupted. "There won't be. She's a desperate woman who lost her job and made a bad decision." The demo proceeds as scheduled, Friday, noon. He walked to his car, stopped, looked back at Max lying in the gravel, bleeding. Something in him hesitated, but he got in the car anyway and drove away. At the booking room, 5:17 p.m. Eleanor Grace Martin. Charges: criminal trespassing, breaking and entering, child endangerment. 7 to 12 years. Bail, $50,000. $50,000. Her bank account held $87. "Can I make a phone call?" She called Caleb's group home. "Mrs. Patterson, it's Ellie. Tell Caleb I love him and that I'm sorry." "Ellie, what's wrong?" "I made a choice to help someone, and it cost me everything. The officer took the phone. Time's up. At the holding cell. 2:34 p.m. Ellie sat on the concrete bench, head in her hands. The holding cell smelled of bleach and something dying. Disinfectant over despair. The same smell as failure. She'd lost everything. Her job. Her credibility. Her freedom. The boys were back with their abusers. The building would be demolished in 36 hours. She closed her eyes and prayed. God, I don't understand. I followed where I thought you led. I trusted you, and now everything is worse. Those boys are back in hell. I'm in jail. I have nothing left to give. She wept. But you gave everything to, on the cross. You were arrested for telling the truth. You were mocked, and you trusted the Father anyway. So I'm trusting you now, even when I can't see, even when it looks like evil won. Your will, not mine. Amen. She opened her eyes, took a shaky breath, and waited. What she didn't know, 42 floors above, a security guard named Ramon was about to find something in the server archives. Something that would change everything. God was already answering. She just couldn't see it yet. At the McCann Towers. Security office. 3:12 p.m. Ramon Silva sat in front of the monitor array. 6 years with McCann Corp. Overnight shifts. Invisible. Except to Ellie. She was the only one who said good morning, who asked about his daughter, who brought him coffee. When he heard she'd been arrested, something didn't sit right. If she said those kids were locked in that building, he pulled up the Riverside demolition site feeds. The supervisor said no cameras in the condemned building, but Ramon knew better. 6 months ago, Reed ordered cameras installed in every basement. Insurance requirement. He found the basement hallway camera. Timestamp. 11:47 p.m. 3 days ago. Motion detected. 2 figures entered frame. Sandra Voss. Michael Chen. Carrying bundles. 2 small shapes. Ramon's blood went cold. They unlocked a basement door, unwrapped blankets. 2 boys. Groggy. Sedated. Audio enhanced. Sandra. In you go. Morgan. Slurred. Want Max. Sandra. Max is gone. You're staying here. Micah, crying. Home. Michael. This is your home now. Laughter. Sandra. No one checks condemned buildings. In 2 days, this comes down. 2 more runaways the system lost. Michael. Demos on schedule? Sandra. Friday, noon. By 12:05, no evidence, just rubble. Michael. Funds keep coming? Sandra. $4,800 a month. Forever. They locked the door, chained it. Sandra looked at the camera, didn't know it was there, and smiled. Problem solved. Ramon kept searching, found a shared drive folder. Transfers do not sync. Inside, a spreadsheet. Page 1 of 14, row 7. Destiny Williams, age 5. Status, resolved. Monthly stipend, $3,900. Row 12. Marcus Chen, age 7. Status, resolved. Monthly stipend, $5,200. Row 18. Sofia Reyes Gutierrez, age 4. Status, resolved. Monthly stipend, $4,100. Row 23. Micah Reyes, age 6. Status, pending. Monthly stipend, $4,800. Row 24. Morgan Reyes, age 6. Status, pending. Monthly stipend, $4,800. Resolved, resolved, resolved. 5 children. 3 dead. Total revenue, $412,600. Email archives from Zvos at riversidefc.org. Date, the 11th of March, 2024. Demo, Friday, 12. State keeps paying for transferred kids. These two are perfect. Nonverbal. No advocates. Dead children don't have custody rights. Handwritten note, scanned. Basement door. Padlock plus chain. Demo is 60 hours later. Burn this after reading. S. She hadn't burned it. Now it was evidence. Ramon grabbed his phone. Called Reed. At the Reed's penthouse. 3:45 p.m. Reed was pouring scotch when his phone rang. What? Mr. McCann. It's Ramon. The maid was telling the truth. I have footage. You need to see this before those kids disappear. Reed went still. Send it. The video arrived. Reed watched. Watched again. His hand trembled. Sandra Voss locking 2 children in a basement, laughing about their deaths. Reed's stomach turned. He thought of Ellie in handcuffs. Her words, I see what you don't. He grabbed his keys. At the police station. 4:17 p.m. Reed walked in with his lawyer. I need all charges against Ellie Martin dropped. Immediately. The desk sergeant looked up. Sir, I can't just... Reed slammed his phone on the counter. Watch this. Then call detectives. You're about to arrest 2 people for conspiracy to commit murder. The sergeant watched. His face went white. Within minutes, detectives mobilized. APB issued, Reed asked. Where's Ellie Martin? Holding cell. Release her. Now. At the holding cell. 4:52 p.m. The door opened. Ellie looked up. Exhausted. Reed stood there. He stepped inside. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Reed knelt. On the concrete, in his $8,000 suit, knelt before a maid. You were right. Ellie's eyes widened. Reed's voice cracked. About everything. The boys, the basement. I have footage. They locked those kids in there to die. Ellie's hand covered her mouth. I called you a liar. Had you arrested. Kicked the only creature trying to save them. His eyes filled. You risked everything. And his voice broke. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry, Ellie whispered. Are the boys safe? Police are intercepting Sandra now. They'll be safe. Because of you. Tears spilled down Ellie's face. The door opened. A detective. Miss Martin, you're free to go. With our sincere apology. Ellie stood. Reed remained kneeling. She looked down at him. Get up, Mr. McCann. Humility looks good on you. But there's work to do. She walked out. Reed remained kneeling. For 36 years, he'd built towers. Now he would learn to build something that mattered. At the Seattle Children's Hospital, 6:23 p.m., Ellie sat between 2 hospital beds. In one, Micah. In the other, Morgan. Both sleeping. Safe sleep. IV fluids restoring what dehydration had stolen. Between them, Max. Bathed. Bandaged. Stitches where Reed's boot had connected. Paws wrapped in gauze. His tail wagged softly as the boy's hands rested on his fur. The hospital room smelled of bleach and something living. Clean sheets. Fresh bandages. Steady beeping monitors confirming heartbeats. New beginnings. For the first time in 3 years, the smell didn't make her sick. Reed appeared in the doorway, changed out of his suit, wearing jeans and a plain shirt borrowed from hospital donations. His $8,000 suit ruined from kneeling, he'd thrown it away. He held 2 cups of coffee, offered one to Ellie. She took it. They sat in silence. Then Reed spoke quietly. I looked into Max's records. Trained as a psychiatric service dog. Cost $23,000. The boy's parents bought him 2 years ago. Ellie looked at Max. They knew they might not always be there. Reed nodded. Their will stipulated Max stays with the boys. Sandra violated a court order. Reed was quiet. Then, there were others. The police found records. 3 other children over 2 years. Destiny, Marcus, Sophia, all transferred to facilities that don't exist. All dead within weeks. Ellie closed her eyes. Micah and Morgan were supposed to be numbers 4 and 5. She looked at the boys. Sleeping. Safe. Alive. Because a dog wouldn't give up? We're going to find their families, Ellie said quietly. We're going to tell them what really happened. Give them closure. Reed nodded. That's your first project. As director. Ellie looked at him. I'm selling the Riverside development. Establishing a foundation. Child advocacy. Reform for the foster system. Ellie stared. And I want you to run it. Director of the McCann Child Advocacy Foundation. Salary $120,000 a year. Full benefits. Your nephew gets full coverage. Ellie's hands shook. Mr. McCann, I'm a maid. You have something better. Love, and eyes that see. His voice was firm. Credentials didn't save these boys. You did. Ellie's eyes filled. Reed added quietly. I've spent 30 years building towers. I almost killed 2 children because I couldn't see past my ambition. His voice cracked. You showed me what I've become. I don't want to be that man anymore. Morgan stirred, opened his eyes, saw Ellie, whispered, Ellie. She took his hand. I'm here. Morgan looked at Reed, studied him, then softly, the man who kicked Max. Reed's face crumpled. Yes. And I'm so sorry. Morgan was quiet. Max forgave you. He's still here. Reed reached into his pocket. I almost forgot. He pulled out a small box. Inside, on velvet, Max's collar. Cleaned, polished. The leather restored. One of my staff found it at the site, in the gravel. His voice was thick. I had it repaired. Morgan took it like it was sacred. He slid off the bed, knelt beside Max. With trembling hands, he buckled the collar around Max's neck, adjusted it, checked that the tag was visible. Max, service dog, property of Micah and Morgan Reyes. There, Morgan whispered. Now you're ours again. Max's tail wagged. Reed looked at the dog. Max lifted his head. No anger, just presence. Reed approached, held out his hand. Max sniffed it, licked it once. Reed stared at Morgan's small hand on Max's fur. And suddenly, he was 12 again. Tacoma. Holding Buddy's paw, his golden retriever. The only thing that loved him. His foster father sold Buddy for money. Reed begged, cried, was beaten for being weak. He never cried again. Built a wall. Love is weakness. For 36 years, he remembered. Made sure he never loved anything that could be taken. Reed's vision blurred. He looked at Max, at the boys, at Ellie. For the first time since 12, he let himself cry, because he'd become the man who took the dog away. And these children forgave him anyway. Reed sank to his knees, put his face in his hands, wept. I don't deserve that. Ellie's voice was gentle. None of us deserve grace. That's why it's called grace. Morgan reached out, touched Reed's head. It's okay, you're different now. Reed looked up through tears, nodded. I'm trying to be. And for the first time since Morgan smiled, the smell of bleach meant healing. If this story touched your heart, I need you to know something. This channel needs you. We're a family here. Not just viewers, not subscribers, a family. And our mission is to reach people who need hope. People who feel powerless. People who wonder if love still matters in a world that worships money and status. Help us reach them. Join our family by subscribing right now. Your support means everything. God bless you.